Welcome to the HeldLight Podcast. Tonight I got Virginia Grant with me. Virginia reached out to me through the platforms, and here we are. Hey, Virginia.
Hey Brent, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm great.
So, if you want to tell everybody like how we met.
Yeah, so I saw one of your one of your videos
Mhm.
on Facebook. I think somebody had shared it with me, and it took me actually to your Instagram page. But I listened to you, and I appreciated how candid you were with your conversation. I think that I come from a standpoint of being very soft, being very gentle, being very supportive. And you come from a place of like being really direct. This is what you guys are thinking, but this is what you should be thinking. This is what you should be doing. This is what caregiving is about. And I love the way that you were so direct with it. So I said, if we put that direct and that soft together, I think we'll have a home run. So I reached out to you and you said yes. So here
Yeah,
we are tonight.
I saw some of your content, and I'm like, oh my God, her positivity is infectious. And so today was the first day that, because I knew we were going to do this, I'm like, all right, I got to really go through. And I went onto your Facebook Reels and I just listened to quite a bit of your stuff. And I'm like, nobody is that positive. Like you spin it in such a way that it's just so positive. Like I was telling my wife earlier, before I put her to bed, I said, this lady that I'm gonna work with, Virginia, the way your content is like, hey guys, I know the house is on fire right now. We're all about to die. But man, what a good day it's been. Like you're just so positive. And I'm like I gotta talk to
Oh,
her.
yeah, yeah. No, I agree with you. But Brent, it was that positivity, to be honest, that got me through. Like it wasn't, I took care of my sister for 4.5 years. I'm taking care of my mom now. Every day wasn't easy. I'm gonna be honest. There was a lot of hard days, there were rough days, but I had a huge support system and I had people around me that just helped keep me grounded. So it was my positivity, to be honest, that got me through it.
And I saw, so you've actually taken care of three people.
Yes.
If I understand correctly, your father first, then
Yeah.
your sister, and it sounds like your sister's case is really a tough one, and
Yeah.
then now currently your mother. You want to like, are you okay to talk about those three? Because it sounds
Oh,
like you've
yeah.
seen it from a couple of different angles.
Yeah. It's interesting because, when I was taking care of my father, he didn't live with me. I was just kind of supporting him, but he was still independent. He was still on his own. So I didn't even really think about that as caregiving at the time. And then my sister, several years later, suffered an anoxic brain injury that left her total care. She couldn't do anything for herself, Brent. I had to bathe her, feed her, clothe her, everything, legal issues. I had to do everything for my sister after her injury. And that's when I understood what caregiving was. But still, not until I just recently became a caregiver for my mom and just really see the entire journey and variety and variance in caregiving did I even acknowledge the fact that I was a caregiver for my father. That is just like a new awakening for me. I knew caregiving for my sister. I was all in. That was like the epitome of caregiving. Everything you can do for a person, I had to do for her. Now, my mom is here with me and I've moved her in with me. So obviously we see that as caregiving. But basically with her, it's mainly mobility issues. She's slowed down some. She needs assistance with certain things. So I'm still not doing everything for her, but just kind of being that support for her.
Yeah, and so the brain injury, I have a few followers that have reached out to me on some of my content, some from here in the United States and some from overseas.
Yeah.
And that brain injury, because I always think of like a stroke, they had a stroke or they had it. No, it sounds like there was something that happened that caused
Yeah.
the brain to not get oxygenated, and now they have permanent brain damage.
Yeah.
And I'm a paramedic and I've seen some stuff in the emergency room, but that's a form of caregiving that I never considered that people are going through until I started this platform. And
Yeah.
I'm seeing that a lot.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you heard that. My son just came home.
Oh, it's okay.
He's
I didn't
loud. I
hear
told him, hey, dude, I'm on the
it.
I don't know if we won't edit that out. We'll leave it in. But yeah,
Yeah,
so
let's
so,
leave
so I
it.
I see I've seen some folks that talk about that stuff, and I follow a few of them. There's actually a lady that I speak with. on a pretty regular basis that's really struggling because her husband has that issue. And your positivity on all of that is incredible. I don't know where you pull it from, but if you could help folks that follow my platform and maybe even follow your platform on how you got through that, because I thought what I'm dealing with what I deal with is hard, but I'm learning that there are people out there who are really struggling with a lot worse
Yeah.
case scenarios than I am.
Yeah. So, Brent, for me, when my sister got ill, it was truly me believing that God told me to take care of her. So I knew that it was an assignment. I knew that it was my responsibility to take care of her, and I wanted to do it. Now, like I said from the very beginning, it was not easy. It was hard. There was a lot of hard days. There was a lot of work that needed to be done. You can imagine taking care of someone 24/7. My sister could not be left alone. So my entire life modified. And like I say, I think it was my support system that got me through. And it was also just knowing that I wanted the best for her. So many people told me to put her in a nursing home, that I couldn't take care of her, that I couldn't manage her. But Brent, she was only 45 years old when she suffered this injury. So I felt like she deserved more. She had worked hard all her life. She was a good sister to me. I just felt like she deserved to have the best possible chance for recovery. But even if she wasn't going to recover, the doctors told us she wouldn't, and she never did come back fully. But I still felt like she deserved the best quality of life, and I knew that that was going to be with me. So, and I talk about it in some of my platforms now, is the fact that I was chosen to be her caregiver. And you spoke about it. That was the video that I saw you do. You was like, the reason we're caregivers is because the other ones can't do it.
Yeah.
We are the ones that are designed to do it, right? So I started wearing that as a badge of honor. I was chosen. I'm the one to take care of my sister. And I think it was that me changing my mindset and my thought pattern to like, I'm chosen. I'm the one God wanted to do this. He's given me everything I need to do this. And so it just became a badge of honor. It's like, oh, I'm the caregiver. So I think it's like the way we look at it. And I think you were so right in that podcast, because we sometimes get upset with our siblings and our family because we don't feel like they're doing enough. Brent, to be honest, they just can't do any more than what they're doing.
Yeah.
That's the reality. I mean, there's some variables there and there's some gray. It's not all black and white, because some probably can do a little bit more than they do. But at the end of the day, it's us. We're the caregivers and we're designed to do it.
That's amazing how you like see it from the perspective of I was chosen to do this, and that changes your perspective on it. I know that there's some folks that I chat with on TikTok lives
Uh-huh.
that are like, it's I'm taking care of mom and she has dementia or Alzheimer's, and I have brothers and sisters, and I've made some posts about this where they come in and they do just enough, and then they virtue
Yes,
signal, and then they roll
yes.
out, and I know that really stresses out the one who's the permanent or the full-time caregiver, and the family dynamics are incredible. And I listened to one of your, I think it was on Facebook, where you talked about you have family meetings.
Yeah.
Like that's, I don't think I can get my family to get along for 5 minutes. How the hell do you manage a family meeting without all, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, it's something special. I think first our parents raised us to get
mhm.
along. And I think we've always known that it's our job and it's our responsibility to take care of our parents. So it's just natural for us to have these conversations with one another. I feel completely blessed because I know it's not common. Every family does not go through this as well as we are. But I can send my siblings a text. They immediately respond, let me know what I need, supporting me. Now, I can say my mom has been here with me for a month. No one has come. No one has come to visit,
Mm.
but they are very supportive in the sense that I know that if I need them, they'll come through and they'll help out. So I think it was just ingrained in us to take care of our parents. So you are taking care of your wife, and I know
Mhm.
she has a diagnosis. Is it MS that she's diagnosed with?
Parkinson's. Yeah.
Parkinson's. Wow. I didn't realize it was Parkinson's. So she truly was diagnosed very early in life.
Yeah.
And I know as a as a spouse, like I took care of my sister, I take care of my parents. Taking care of a spouse has got to be as challenging, if not more challenging, because your intimacy has to change. So tell me from the standpoint of a spouse, as a husband, what was that like when you all got that diagnosis and you realized your wife was going to need you to the degree, or did you even realize how significant she was going to need you at the time?
So I did a podcast recently with it's called the Caregivers Podcast. If you don't follow him, he's great. And he asked me the same question. It's in the beginning with Parkinson's disease, it's a slow rolling thing. And it has like, it starts off one way and then it kind of drops and then it starts, and it just like her life has been like these slow little plateaus.
Okay.
And in I'd say the first, I don't know, 5 or 6 years or so. It wasn't that bad. But where my life changed from the role of husband to
Yeah.
caregiver was probably about the time we moved here to Florida,
Okay.
which was, gosh, about 10 years ago. No, no, it was in 2012 when I moved her and the kids here. That's
Okay.
when I started to recognize that my role now is caregiver. And when it comes to the intimacy issues, I know you have seen Esther and I who do the light we hold. She is a woman with Parkinson's, and I'm of course a husband taking care of my spouse with Parkinson's. And we have really good back and forth. Her and I keep talking about we should have a conversation about the intimacy, like how does it change not only the love life, but in the sex life, but how does it change? How we look and feel about our loved one. Because my wife today looks nothing like physiologically, she looks nothing like what she did when we first
Yeah,
met.
the woman you met. Yeah.
Yeah, and so her body is very frail. I mean, I'll just tell you, there's no sex life. There hasn't been for a while. But what I've learned is, you can be intimate, and the love that I have for her has changed quite a bit. Yeah, I'll say this. I haven't spoken about this yet before, but one time I asked my wife, I said, "Where do you think we would be if you didn't have this disease?" Like this
Hmm.
was a few years ago. I'm like, where do you think that you and I would be if you didn't have this disease? You know what she said to me?
What's that?
Probably divorced. And that kind of pissed me off. And I go, what do you mean probably divorced? She goes, because if she had stayed healthy, I was a different kind of person. And I had like
Wow.
I wasn't as supportive as I in this disease process showed me, because I've been married before, but this disease process showed me truly what love really is and what
Yeah.
sickness, when we say those vowels, like now I know what that shit means. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? A lot of people say those. How many people do we know that just get divorced? And
Yeah.
they're on the wife three, the wife four, whatever. So when she said that to me, that stung. And so, and to the intimacy point, like that's kind of where I'm at. Like I now know this disease has taught me what love really is, what unconditional love actually is. Because
Yeah.
our marriage wasn't perfect. It still isn't perfect.
No.
Just because she has the disease, she can still be a pain in my ass. So
Yeah, no,
yeah.
thanks for sharing that because I know that I can only imagine. I can only imagine that when you're caring for a spouse, the dynamics change when you're caring for a parent, right? Because you almost move into that role where you're parenting your parent. So I understand that. But I can only imagine how challenging it has to be when it's your spouse and those roles shift because you're not partners anymore. You're almost parenting your spouse. So, thanks for sharing that. What has been like the most challenging part of adjusting to that new role?
Uh, well, the first thing that pops in my head is finances. Like, I mean, this is healthcare is expensive,
Hmm.
and healthcare doesn't just pay for like my healthcare. I have a really good healthcare plan. I'm a federal employee. I was gonna take the deal where they were letting us go. Like, hey, I mean, I was offered a sweet deal, a
Yeah,
golden parachute. You know why I didn't take it? Healthcare.
yeah,
I have a really kick-ass healthcare plan and I can't let that go. And
I
so,
understand.
because I've been bankrupt, I've lost my house to foreclosure, and we were paying out of pocket for stuff. So the first thing that comes to mind is finances.
Finances. Yeah,
How expensive, and it's not just like co-pays and medications and doctor, but it's hey, I had to change up how she eats. I've got
Yes.
a trapeze over her bed that I paid out of pocket for because I couldn't get it approved. So it's a, thing over the bed. I've
Hmm.
paid for out of pocket for her wheelchairs. I've paid out of pocket for her walkers. Now a lot of that's covered now that, I mean, unfortunately, she is now on hospice. It's mostly for
Okay.
palliative care, but we're
Yes.
seeing, we're seeing some signs of end here, but it financially kicked my ass. And then on top
Yeah.
of that, the stress of raising two kids, two boys through, elementary, junior, through college now,
Yeah.
and it's it's been a pain in the ass.
Yeah, no, that's the reality of caregiving, right? Because you have this new dynamic, but life continues to move. So everything that you would have had to do with your wife as a partner still has to happen. And that was the same thing with my sister. She suffered an anoxic brain injury. She went into the hospital one morning, unexpectedly, is induced into a coma, put on life support. 8 weeks later, comes off life support, and it's like, now what? But she literally never went to her house again, never spoke to us again. We had never, ever had a conversation with her. To this day, I still don't know if she wanted to be on life support because that was a conversation that was never had. That was a decision that we made as a family because we weren't strong enough to let her go,
Yeah.
right? So, but everything had I had to resign her from her job. Like I literally had to write a resignation letter for my sister because she was not capable of doing it herself. So all of the things that have to happen in real life still have to happen.
Yeah.
I was still working. Fortunately, I was working at home because it was the end of COVID and we had gone home for COVID. That was one of the most um life-saving aspects of it was the fact that I was at home. I don't know how I would have done it if I had to continue to work. So you're absolutely right. Life keeps going on, and we got to still accomplish all these things and take care of this person.
Yeah, the during COVID, my wife was in a nursing home. We
Okay.
were going through the Medicaid process to get her on because she's not collecting Social Security disability. We talked about that, Esther and I, in our last podcast, the
Yeah.
navigating the healthcare maze, and that was not a fun time because I couldn't go into the nursing home to actually see her. And when the few times, like for Christmas, we got to go see her, this was terrible during Christmas that year, she had to be there to work through this process. And I'm in gloves, mask, full gown with my kid, who's glove, mask, full gown, and we weren't allowed to touch her. And we
Gosh.
were we were exchanging Christmas presents that way.
Wow.
And it wasn't because it's because there's other patients in there that were really that I mean the disease would have killed him. Her father
Right.
passed in a nursing home during that time frame.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, COVID was no fun.
No, it wasn't. Just another challenge.
I
Yeah.
just it's to me like you had asked me a minute ago like how has this changed me? It's changed my like I'm a different person now. I'm a different I see the world differently.
Differently.
I have a different understanding of what God is too. And I have a different understanding of like when I was a paramedic working in the trauma centers, you just kind of get used to people dying. Like you kind of become numb to like that person that just
That,
died in there is like that person in the hallway's wife.
yeah.
It just becomes numbing, and you become callous to it. And then when it becomes your family member, you're like, oh, okay, now I have a different perspective on
Perspective.
of death and dying that I
Yeah.
that I didn't have before.
Yeah. And that reminds me, I wanted to talk more about the way your relationship changed with your wife. And I agree with you. When you are a caregiver, it changes you, it
Mm.
softens you, it changes your heart, right?
Yeah.
Because there's a couple things that I think a lot of caregivers don't realize. I think that a lot of caregivers do not realize how noble of a decision they're making when they decide to take care of someone. I think that when you decide to modify your life, because you could have left your wife, you
Mhm.
you weren't obligated to stay there. You chose to stay, right? And I think that when we make these choices to continue to show up in someone's life whose life has changed, that's one of the most noble commitments we can make in this world. And so that's why, on the flip side of that, I think that's why it's so important that we find a way to enjoy it, that we find a way to make positive memories, because there's no reason for us to make such a noble decision to be so giving to someone else and not enjoy the experience.
Yeah, that's that. I've said before, like, do the thing now with Parkinson's specifically. Like, if you have a loved one who has an illness that's, the longer, slower, the long, slow goodbye kind of illness,
Yeah,
do those things now that you can do now because years from now you may not be able to,
yeah,
and then there's the other side of that, the folks like in your sister's case, where one day they're here and the next day they're not, and then you live through shame and regret of, did the last conversation I had with them end in a fight?
yes.
You know what I mean? And I've not experienced that portion. I've
Hmm.
experienced loss, like I've lost a lot of friends to
Right.
combat from my military experience, but I've not had that loss,
Yeah.
and that's a hard one for folks to deal with. I can only imagine what it's like if you had unfinished business and something like that happened. And I know, so you coach, right? You're a life
Yeah.
coach. Because I looked your bio up, you have a really incredible education, and I wanted to ask you, like, did you get into life coaching because of your caregiving experience?
Yes. So through my caregiving experience, I joined like different Facebook groups and stuff like that and talking to people. And that's when I began to realize how painstaking and overwhelming caregiving is for a lot of people. Like I used to read Facebook posts where this lady may be taking care of someone and the caregiver, the CNA, the nurse, or whoever was supposed to come in to help her out just doesn't show up. And like it had happened so many times. And I remember that same thing happened to me. What was different about my situation was I never became dependent on the caretaker. I never began to be dependent on the nurses to come in. If they came, that was great. If they didn't come, I was okay. I could get through it. But in seeing the way other people was getting burnt out and the way that other people was frustrated made me want to create this nonprofit which provides support to caregivers, right? So in me I'm sorry, tongue tied,
Uh,
but in me creating this nonprofit, it's called Assurance, then
mhm.
I decided I wanted to go one step further and become a life coach for caregivers because I really do believe that it's the way that you see things. There's so many things in caregiving that we can't change. We can't make the nurse show up. We can't make our siblings help out. We can't make our parents be kind to us. We can't make the loved one, even if it's not our parents, be kind to us. We can't get insurance to approve the referral, the request that we ask for treatment or for equipment. We can't make any of that happen. The one thing we are in control of is the way we see things. And so, as a life coach, I get to help people look at their situation and their circumstance different through a different lens. And in looking at it through a different lens, then you begin to process things different. And in processing it differently, then you get to respond to things
Dude,
differently.
where were
So,
you like 6 years ago? Because what you just described is exactly what I went through. In the
yeah,
beginning, I did not have in-home health care beyond somebody that would pop in once a week.
once a week.
And I could not work. I put cameras up in my house so that I could keep an eye on her,
Yeah.
and it was stressing me out. Now I did seek therapy and I did find a good therapist, and now I do see a coach, a life coach. And then we had one when we finally were approved the home health care. We did have one company we were with where exactly that the CNAs would no show, and I'd have to call in, and I'm fortunate enough that I have a job that's forgiving or would allow me
Yes.
to work from home when I could,
Right.
and leadership that understands.
Understood. Hmm.
But it was driving me insane. It was making me angry, and I was having resentment and anger issues, and I was directing some of that towards my wife. Like,
Yeah.
I've said this, like I say this sometimes, and people are like, "Are you abusive?" Like, no,
Yeah.
I get angry about it, and like this wouldn't be happening if you weren't fucking sick, And so I went through all this craziness,
Yeah.
and then I hear you like, I worked through it. I'm like,
Yeah.
but what's
Yeah.
awesome is now you've taken, because I mean, your positivity is infectious. And
Oh,
and and like it sounds like what you're doing now is you're taking your positivity because you've lived it. That's the beauty of what you're doing is like I can't stand it when I talk to somebody about these things that we're going through and they give like advice, but it's not through experience, it's
Not through
through their
experience.
opinion. And I tell myself, forgive them, Lord, they know not what they say.
Hmm.
So, but what I'm hearing from you is you went through this with a positive attitude and you're a better person than me. And
Hmm.
two, you're now helping people navigate this process with that positive attitude through your platform. That's
Hmm.
pretty awesome.
Well, thank you, Brent, but I do need to clarify.
Uh,
I was not always this positive person. This is something I had to grow into also. There was days I wanted to give up on my sister. There was days I literally just cried to God, God, please don't let me give up because it meant that much to me to do it. But at the same time, even though I wanted to do it, life was still life and things were stressful. There were many a days, Brent, where I just cried. I just cried, cried, cried. And sometimes I didn't even know why I was crying, other than the fact that I was just frustrated. I was overwhelmed. It was just too many things going on. And then sometimes, you know what, to be honest, sometimes I question, can I do this? Now I say I know I was chosen to do it and I know that I could do it. And even in it, sometimes I felt like I could do it and I did do it. But there were some days I was like, I don't know that I can do anymore. I mean, there were trips I didn't go on, there were jobs I couldn't take because I was taking care of her. There were many sacrifices that I made. So it wasn't always positive for me, but it's because I lived through it that I can share with other people. You can get through it. And I know that when I made that shift, when I realized, hey, you can't be frustrated about things, you've got to look at this from a different perspective. You know what? I'm going to tell you, this is what changed for me, Brent. The moment I stopped looking at my sister as my patient, I brought her home to take care of her. But when I stopped taking care of her and I started living with her, was when life changed. So I have this roommate, I have this person that lives with me. So when we go on vacation, I gotta make a way for her to get there. So yes, traveling is a little more difficult, but I'm not cutting out my traveling. So I learned to pack her up. I had a real good nurse at the time, and she would come with us, right? So it was when I had that shift. It's like she's not my patient. She's not here for me to take care of. She's my sister who needs a lot of assistance from me. But we got to keep living. We got to live together. And that's what changed things for me. When
that's
I made her
freaking
just come into my
powerful.
life and let's live.
You said that when you said I felt that way. I'm like I've been in that situation where I'm like you're my patient, not my wife. And when you just said that, I'm like, holy shit. The next time I feel those feelings, she's
Yeah.
your wife, not your patient. Like
Yeah.
that's powerful.
Yeah.
What
And that was
so
the shift for me. That's what did it for me, to be honest. When I changed the way I was thinking about it.
so when you comes to like because you like it sounds like you went through some dark times and you came out in the light and you came out positive. And I talk in a lot of my stuff, like the things that I do. I go outside, I ground myself, I've learned meditation, I've read a ton of books. But what's the secret sauce for you, Miss Virginia? Like what's your secret sauce that you can tell the folks that are out there? Because like help me
So
understand I'm gonna take notes
well,
because
it's
I
not
want your
it's
positivity.
you know what? It's not big. It was little. For me, my place of peace was sitting outside on my back porch. I would just go sit out there. And for me, I have two little grandkids. So it wasn't much time alone. So if I would go sit out there, it wouldn't be but about 5 or 10 minutes before one of them was running out there behind me. But just to know that I had a place that I could go, that I could decompress. Now, another thing that really helped me through is, like I said, I had a strong support system. And I literally had I had one friend. I had one friend in particular that would come by and just sit with me. Like literally just sit with me for hours, realizing that I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't do anything. So she would just sit and she would just talk. We'd just be talking, talking, talking. Before you know it, time had just gone by. So it was my escape. My back porch was my escape. it was friends that were still calling, still checking in on me. And I don't even know how I got to be so blessed that God just sent these people because I didn't know I needed them. It wasn't like I was calling them, telling me, hey, check on me. It was just that they were there and they made the difference. They really helped me to get through. Oh, and one more defining moment. A really, really good friend of mine said to me one day, he said, Virginia, look at how many people are depending on you. And if you go down, you've got to realize all those people go down too.
Yeah.
So when he said that to me, it made me realize I've got to take care of myself first. So I made myself a priority. I made myself number one. Whatever Virginia needs to get first. And then once Virginia has what she needs, then I can take care of everybody around me. But I can't take care of them on E.
Yeah, I've talked about a book before multiple times. It's called The Body Keeps the Score. And if we don't have you read that book?
No, I haven't, but it
It's a
makes sense to
great
me.
book. If you don't take care of yourself and your mental health, it's going to manifest into your physical well-being. And people ask me all the time, what's your biggest fear? And I always say the same answer, dying
Yeah.
before she does. You know,
Yeah.
and yeah, we can only sacrifice ourselves so much
So far.
before we become the patient.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
you're very in touch with God. I'm assuming Christianity, like it's when I dig through some of your stuff, I'm like, he's working through her.
Yeah.
And then so, can you like how did you? Because I've questioned. I'll say this: I have been in a place where I lashed out to God,
Mm.
it was not a good thing, and I cursed God. And the first time it's happened more than once, but the first time it happened while I was in New Mexico, my wife and I lived in Albuquerque area.
Okay.
Now she got me back into the church. We had this wonderful small church out in the middle of nowhere in Edgewood, New Mexico. And Brian Hackett, I don't know if he's out there still. He'll probably see this. Brian
Okay.
Hackett, I went to him. He was the pastor, and I'm like, man. And this wasn't even when things were bad. Like, looking back, I'm like, wow, dude, you had it good then, and
Right.
you were being a little pain in the ass about it and crying about it
Yeah.
and lashing out to God. So where I'm going, he gave me a book. It's called "Is God to Blame?"
Mm.
by Greg Boyd. Phenomenal book. So and I've recommended that book to a few people. Like if you're questioning this from a perspective of God, it's a great book, and it broke down to a little bit of the different forms of evil in the world and the natural evils, and
Okay.
how like the life that we're living is this physiological shell of a being, but the spirit and soul inside of us
Yeah.
is this is just a temporary vessel.
Yeah.
And that book helped me out a lot. And it helped me with also like when I see her sometimes in a bad place and I feel that anger coming forward and I feel myself getting mad at God and I just keep getting told like her soul is still inside there. You stop looking at the flesh, dude.
Yeah.
There's something more going on that you're not your mind is too immature to understand the true power of what's happening behind the
Yeah.
scenes. You're just not ready to know.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like, yeah, when I start watching your stuff, I'm like, oh, I'm a Christian, and I'm like,
Yeah.
there's something happening there. She's got it. Whatever it is, Virginia, you got it.
Thank
Like,
you.
yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
Yeah, it's important to me. Excuse me. I even remember when my sister was sick and she was still in the hospital, she was still on life support. We had a family meeting then. It was by telephone. But one of my brothers, he said, you all need to realize that this is not a medical issue. This is a spiritual issue. And when he said that to me, it changed the way I started looking at things. And then I started questioning, well, why did God choose Eva, my sister?
Mm.
Why did he choose my sister for this? And I realized that and it was funny because I never understood just how close my sister was to God until I had to go clean out her house. And
Mm.
she had so many Bibles. and like just Bibles all over the house. I was like, wow, I didn't even realize she was that deep into it. Like I knew she had a spiritual relationship with God, but I didn't know like she read the Bible like that. I didn't know she studied the word like that. And so I cleaned up her house. I think I must have found like 10 Bibles by the time I had cleaned out her house and packed up her house and everything. And as I began to try to figure out why he had chosen her for that, it helped me to find peace. It helped me to realize just how important she was to God, because I won't share on here
Mhm.
all of the things and all of the things that I learned and all of the reasons that I understand why he chose her, because I still feel like that's her story and I want to protect her story. But in me understanding the spiritual side of it, I understood that he didn't hurt her by allowing her to have this energy. He actually chose her because there was something that he needed her to carry out in this earth. And then that's why I say he chose me to take care of her. And I just thought it was just such a blessing. If you think, oh, and I'm going to share this with you. My sister is not my biological sister.
Eva, the one you,
Yes,
okay.
she's not my biological sister. But we met, and when we met, we instantly became sisters.
That's awesome.
Okay. And shortly before her injury happened in January. In November, we had come together for Thanksgiving. And as I was leaving the house that evening, she said, Sis, I love you. And I said, I know, sis, I love you too. And she said, Nah, sis, I love you. And I said, I love you too. And she said, No, you don't understand what I'm saying to you. I love you. And it was in that moment that I realized she's talking about something different. And so then I just held her hand and I just said, I know, I know. And she said, I admire you. I love you. You have no idea what you mean to me. And in January, she had the injury. Within a couple days of her injury, God spoke to me and told me to bring her home. And taking care of her, how many people can right now say that if that happened to them, they have someone that is not even blood relationship to them that will take care of them? So that shows you that her injury was not a bad thing to her. Her injury was God using her for something because he placed all these things in place, put all these things in place for her, right down to someone who raised their hand and said,
Mm.
I'll bring her home.
That's
That's a blessing in itself. I don't think nobody's bringing me home. So for her to have that is huge. And I just want caregivers everywhere to begin to look for the blessing in their situation. There's a blessing. And I don't want us to be upset with God. I don't want us to look at what it looks like on the surface. I want us to start looking at like what is behind that? What is the blessing in it? What is the silver lining in it? That
that's
helped me.
the whole you're incredible. I'm serious. Like the whole time you're talking, I'm not gonna cry, damn it. You had me close. Um, I've asked that question several times. Like when I because I do a lot of meditation now, and I'm like, why? What is the why? When I ask
Mhm.
the question why, even right now when I say it, why, I get the same response.
Yeah,
It's not about you.
it's not.
I have had the same response multiple times, and God keeps telling me there's something more powerful at work right now at play, that it's not about you. Like,
Yeah,
get over yourself. There's something more powerful happening, and I
yeah.
just keep getting the same message. There's something bigger than you that's
Something
happening right
bigger.
now, and you're just not ready to understand.
Yeah.
I've had my son has popped up a few times, like, my youngest son, Christian, he's only ever known a sick mother. She was diagnosed right after he was born. Like,
Yeah.
and he is such a compassionate and incredible child because of the way he has been raised in this environment. And I often wonder, like, what kind of a turd would he be today if he was, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So every time, God, why? It's not about you.
It's not about you.
Yeah. So
It's bigger
that's,
than us. It's bigger than us.
yeah, you're that and the fact that you're able to take all your lessons learned and your experiences and then help, like you embody my vision of Held Light. Have you heard like the idea of Held Light, what how it came to me?
Yeah, you shared that with me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it was a vision of that idea of we are all lost and I was scared and terrified in the dark and I was like being guided by this light and then I finally break out and I look and it was never freaking dark. It was the lights were never off. The darkness was my own mind and the light was being held by my friends, my family, people
Yeah.
like you're clearly holding the light for people now.
Yeah.
So that's powerful.
Yeah. No, and I really like that held light. I had
Mm.
never thought about it
Mm.
until you shared with me what it meant and stuff. But it is being that light for someone, holding that light so that
Mm.
someone else can see their way.
Yeah, and the beauty of
Yeah.
it, the whole analogy, it was a vision. It was a vision
Yeah.
that I had. It was like the analogy is like, I'm here with you. Like I'm not outside looking in. I'm in it
I'm
with
here,
you.
right here with you.
Yeah, that's I think why I
I'm
think
in
you're
it.
doing so well
Yeah.
is you've been through it and you come out and I'm just gonna beat this to death. You come out with such a positive attitude. Like I told my wife Trudy, I go, her positivity is kind of annoying. It's so I like
I love it. I love it. Yeah,
you and I'm
man.
like
Yeah.
I'm like all negative Nancy sometimes, and yeah, I watch some of your stuff. I'm like, wow, I need to maybe lighten it up a little bit.
No, no, you're perfect. Because different people receive things different ways.
Yeah.
So your message and the way you deliver it is so on point. Please don't change anything about it. Because when I listened to you, I was like, oh, I wish I could say that like that. I'm being nice. I'm like, understand your sibling, understand your sister, know why she's not coming. It's okay, she can't handle it. And you're like, don't listen to them. They don't know what the hell they're talking about anyway.
Yeah, I hate that. I'm not in that situation where I'm gonna give a shout out if he watches. His name's Jazzy Jeff.
Okay.
Jeff is. I want to get him on here. He takes care of his mother. He's
Okay.
a friend of mine on TikTok. He's on YouTube as well. Him and a lady named Butter Love. I don't even know Butter Love's real name, but they're the first two people on when I started on TikTok to bring me
Oh.
into their circle.
Oh, okay.
And Jazzy takes care of his mom, and his videos are awesome. He approaches a lot of positivity, and because she's got really bad dementia, and he interacts with her in a way that's almost comical and lighthearted. You know, like my favorite video of his is like she's getting mad at him, and she's like, "I want to talk to your mama. Where's your mama?" And she's like, "Well, he's telling her, well, she's at home." Like I need to talk to her. You'll talk to her, you know, and like it just kind of gets it's I love that about him. But to him, to his my point with him is he has talked a lot about how he has siblings that literally live down the street that just don't step up. And I'm like, well, because they're not built for it.
Yeah,
They're
they're
not
not.
made for it. You are, you're the man. So Jeff,
Yeah.
if you see this, I'm sure you will. Fucking love you, dude. Like he is an awesome dude. And some people just can't handle it. They
Can't
can't
do it.
do it. They're not capable of doing it.
Yeah,
But take advantage of the things that they can do. Hey, I may not be able to come help you feed your wife, but I can mow your grass.
that's
You know
right.
what I mean? Now, what makes me mad to the original point is like the ones that'll sit outside and armchair quarterback everything you're doing.
Yeah.
If I were you, I would. And why? And to some of the folks that are like, it sounds like you got a great family network, but some of the folks who have the sibling who comes in and says, and bitches and complains about what you're doing wrong.
Yeah.
You're like, well, you were here for an hour or two, and
Yeah.
I'm
It's
here.
easy for you to, yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
how do
No.
you help some of the folks that you work with that? Because I'm not living that life,
Mhm.
and I know, like I brought up Jeff, I know he's living that life, and it sounds like you help. Like, what do you tell them? Like,
Yeah.
because
So
I tell them to say, "Fuck off, you're too nice." I'm not.
So it's twofold. So with my nonprofit, I'm focused on the caregiver, but in me building that nonprofit, I realized that I've also got to provide support for the loved one. and for what I call them, the lifelines, the siblings, the co-workers, the church members. And what I try to do is one, I try to help the caregiver know how to have those conversations with people. Because one thing as caregivers, we got to realize we really don't ask for help as much as we should. So I'm trying to teach caregivers how to ask for help. And then also for them to create a list of things you're willing to allow people to help you do. And then, so when someone says, "Hey, what can I do to help?" you have something to tell them. People used to ask me, "How can I help?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm fine. I'm okay." But I really should have said, "Hey, can you do this? Can you do that?" So I'm trying to teach caregivers first how to ask for help and to be ready when someone offers help to let them know what they can do to help.
I
On the
like that.
flip,
So you tell them to make a list,
mhm,
and do you help them build that list?
I can, yeah, in
So that
some
when it's
circumstances,
asked like, hey, this is what I need, because I actually
yeah,
happened to me once at work. As the man, I'm like, I don't need help, this is my job. And I'll never forget it, my coworker, he kept bugging me like, dude, we want to help you, we want to help you. And I'm like, you
yeah.
guys, you can't help with what I need help with. And one day I broke, I go, you want to help me, man, come clean my house. And he's like, okay. And they got together and hired a company that came and cleaned my house.
Wow, that's beautiful.
But that was just me being a smart ass. I'm like, yeah. And then that
Yeah,
resonates. Like, again, where were you 4 years ago?
yeah, yeah.
So
No,
you help them build a list, and then what else do you do with them?
yeah, and so then on the flip side of that, I also hold workshops for the lifelines to teach them how to provide adequate help. So instead of people asking you, "Hey, what can I do to help?" we want people to learn how to say, "Hey, I can bring dinner for you this week. What day would be the best day? I can sit with your dad for a couple hours if that would help give you a break. Is there anything that I need to do? What day do you want me to show up?" So instead of saying, "Hey, how can I help? Can I help? Call me if you need me." Go in and offer something that you can legitimately do. I can order, I'm going to the grocery store this week. I can bring groceries for you. What would you like? So
How do you get them? So you bring in the person who's the caregiver, and you say, I need you to build a list. I'll help you build a list. And then how do you get the other folks into the group that, because like, how does the one who is the caregiver know who the other person is that you help them go, these are the things you should tell them? Where do you get that group of the community?
yeah, so we're still building that group.
Right.
So within my nonprofit, I'm building community that includes the loved one, the lifeline, and the caregiver. So we're having all of these conversations together.
So the
So
Lifeline is a group of folks that want to help somebody somewhere. They just don't know. That's awesome.
yeah,
I've had people before say, nobody's here to help me and I got no help. And I'm like, walk inside a church and tell them what you need. There are people
that's
dying
right.
to have you walk through the
To
doors.
help
And on that video, a plug, I forget who the lady was. She goes, hey, if you don't want to walk into a church because you don't believe in a God, go to the Boy Scout troop.
anywhere.
And she told a story about how a local Boy Scout troop showed up and built a wheelchair ramp for their loved one's house. I'm like,
Yeah,
people
just like
just need to
that.
know how to ask.
They
That's
just need to
awesome.
know. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then another thing
And
though,
have the swallow your pride and put your
that's
ego
right.
aside and ask.
And
Yeah.
ask.
Yeah.
Yep. And then ask, but also be prepared for the no because everybody's not going to say yes, but that's not a big deal. It's okay if they can't help. Just give them a couple months, ask them again. It's no big deal. It
Yeah.
just means ask me later. I can't do it today. But the other thing that I want caregivers to do is I want us to become community within ourselves. I want us to support one another. So if we're living in the community, there's three households with parents with dementia. I want us to take turns helping each other. Like you have play dates with the little kids. Let's have play dates with the parents.
That so you get like your mom together with like if Jeff was your neighbor, you'd bring Jazzy in and you would watch the two so he could go. That's
Yeah. Well, it hasn't happened yet, but
yeah.
that's my hope. That's where I want us to move as a community. The one thing I realized, Brent, and this is the biggest problem, is that caregivers do not see themselves as a community. Okay, right? You're a white male, so you belong to the community of white men. You
Mhm.
belong to the community of veterans. You belong to the community of ex military, but you do not belong to the community of caregivers. Why? Because
Yeah,
there isn't one.
we're building it.
We're building it. That's
Yeah,
right.
it's growing. I mean, I started my first post a long time ago on a YouTube thing that was like 8 or 9 years ago, and it went a little viral, and then I deleted it because I was worried about. I called out the local congressman on the healthcare system, and my commander was like, let's not do that. And so
Okay.
I deleted it and came off of it. And then about, I think I told you this, it was Montel Williams that
Yeah.
like I'm in a military makeover with Montel Williams. He sat right
Yeah.
here in my living room. In fact, they
Yeah.
redid this room I'm in.
Yeah.
And he told me in the kitchen, he's like, man, you need to speak your
Mhm.
story. Like it's I'm like, I'm not going to do that. And then like 7 or 8 months ago, May 29th, I just got triggered again. I'm like, I'm going to do
Yeah.
it. I'm going to start
Yeah.
doing it. And then holy crap, like and I got to go back to Jazzy Jeff and Butter Love because I started on TikTok and they're like,
Uh,
"We see you." And by the way, they're African, they're Black community. They're like, well, "You're one of us. You're part of our community." And they started to let me in on their TikTok
yeah.
lives. They do one every Monday and every Friday,
Okay.
and I miss out on them lately because I've been busy with other stuff. But they check in on me. Like
Yeah.
they'll do buddy checks. Jeff will text me on my. I gave him my cell phone, and Butter Love will hit me up on like Messenger, like, "Hey, you good?" And so there is a community. It's
Yeah,
growing. It
it's
is
building.
growing.
It's building. But then you know what, Brent, when we really unite and we really build that community, then we can call out the congressman because you know what?
Mhm.
They owe it to us. We need legislation passed that changes the dynamics for caregivers. We need not to have to fight with these insurance companies to get things for our loved ones the way we're fighting. And you know why
Mhm.
we're fighting? We're fighting because we're all individuals.
Yeah.
When we become a united front, the fight will get lesser. The fight will get easier.
And
We've
the,
got to form this community.
and the caregiving community, it's also broken down in difference. So like
Yeah.
I'm really smart on Parkinson's and what the I say it all the time, the long slow goodbye of Parkinson's.
Yeah.
But you've dealt with, the traumatic brain injury and then there's a young lady out there, mom of my mom. She has a huge following, and she's a young adult taking care of her older mother. I think
Hmm.
she passed. And then I'm learning that there are folks who like Butter Love, she took care of her parents, and now she has a son who
Hmm.
has traumatic brain injury and some mental health issues. And like, it's different factions of the
Yeah.
caregiving community, and I'm seeing, at least in my platform, it sounds like you are too, that there's connections there. But then like I'm also seeing like, well, we're the caregivers that take care of our loved one with cancer, and I'm the caregiver who take. I'm like, dude, we're all in the
We're
same
all
freaking.
caregivers.
We're all in the same dark ass woods, and we all got a lantern. Let's light this bonfire together. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like that's
Yeah.
awesome what you're doing.
Yeah. Thank you. You too. You too. We got to build this community. We got to.
And
I think
you're in Gainesville, right?
I am.
So how do you bring them all together in Gainesville? Like, what do you? I saw something that you're hosting soon.
Yeah, so we're doing a caregivers festival, and this is going to be a huge day of just respite, rejuvenation, fun, games, prizes, entertainment for caregivers. Just a day for them to take off, a day for the community to come together and just love on them. So yeah,
When is
it's
it?
a
I'll
Friday.
try to drop this by the weekend, but when is it going to be so we can like tell people that might see this?
Oh, yeah, it's April 18th. So we have plenty of time. We started planning early. So it's April 18th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. here in Gainesville. It's free to all caregivers. And we just want to send the message that we love caregivers, right? We see you, we support you, we love you. But I also want to use this as a catapult to continue to build community. So, like, I've reached out to the city. The city is behind us 100%. We have some sponsors that have jumped on board, and we just want the entire community to come together and love on caregivers.
Dude, that's awesome. I know we've been about an hour now. I
Okay.
think I want, if you're cool with it, I want to close on that because what
Yeah.
so tell folks, because I'm going to share this on my platform so folks will see who you are. Tell folks how to find you,
Okay.
and then tell folks how they can do what you did. Or I'm going to try to come to. I wrote the date down. I'm like,
Yeah,
Gainesville's
please
only
do.
3 hours away. I'm gonna see. We're going to hang out,
Yeah,
um,
come
and
on.
and um, and tell folks how you put that together so they can start their own little thing in their community, or just have them reach out to you.
Yeah, just reach out to me. My cell phone is 352
Mhm.
208 4894. My website is assurancegnv.org. You can
And
get all the
I'll drop that in
information.
the link. Yeah.
Awesome. And you get all the information about the festival, about our organization, what we do. And in the meantime, we're still looking for sponsors. We're still looking for vendors. We're looking for volunteers. So if you want to get involved, please look us up, get in contact. And we want to continue to build this community. We
That's
got to build this community. It's not even optional at this point. It's well overdue.
what do you got? Fire. I gotta go take care of Trudy here in a minute, but
Okay.
I kind of want to close on that. I can edit some of this out, but unless you got anything else
No,
you want to ask me or
no. Can we do this again? Let's do this
yeah, yeah.
again.
For me it's hard to like I'm juggling chainsaws lately,
I
but
know. All right,
man,
awesome.
Virginia, I think you're amazing. I said it
Thank
from the
you.
very beginning. Your positivity is absolutely, and I'm not just saying that to say it
Oh, I
like
know.
because if you follow me, I'll tell it like it is. You're
Yeah,
infectious. Your
thank you.
positivity is infectious, and I love how you've been handling this your story. And like I honestly think you're gonna do your story is just beginning.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I really appreciate it. I'm glad that we're connected. Let's stay connected. I love what you're doing as well. Tell your wife I say hello. I can't wait to meet her. And let's just do this. Let's make it happen.
Right on. Well, I'll close it with that. Hey, thanks for folks that saw this all the way through. Just as a reminder, like, we're just giving our shared experiences. Like, this is what we are really living and going through.
Yeah.
Virginia Grant, you're amazing. What you're doing is an amazing. I'll drop the link to where her website is. And if you're looking for somebody, if you're a caregiver and you're living in the dark and you're looking for a life coach or a positive a coach who has been through it and has come out on the positive end of this and had lived through the darkness before, she's your girl.
Thanks.